This is my review of the Logitech MX Anywhere 3 after 4 months of use. Throughout the video, we'll talk about the unboxing experience, battery life of the mouse, the easy to use Logi Options program, the premium scrolling wheel found on this third generation of the mouse, and I'll tell you why the mouse lives up to its name. The MX Anywhere 3 belongs to the Master Series by Logitech, and it released in September of 2020. The wireless mouse retails for $79.99 US, and you can find it over at Logitech and a couple other US retailers. The mouse comes inside of a box that could be considered a more premium packaging for a mouse. When you open up the box, the first thing you come across is the mouse itself. And I was immediately attracted to the steel scrolling wheel that creates great contrast on this graphite color. When you take the mouse out of the box and flip it over, you have a sticker covering the bottom part of the mouse, and it provides a small diagram with instructions to set up the mouse and use the multi-device button. Back to the packaging, you'll also come across the USB unifying receiver that comes included with this mouse to help with the multi-device use, but also to connect up to 6 different devices that are compatible with this receiver if you choose to do so. Something to keep in mind though is that the Anywhere 3 version for Apple computers doesn't include this receiver. The Mac version of the mouse also doesn't come with the USB-C to USB-A cable that comes included with this standard version. It still comes with a cable, but it's USB-C to USB-C instead. The cable is used for charging the Anywhere 3 as it doesn't run on separate batteries. And the mouse comes with a USB-C port at the front of its contoured and slightly concave body in order to connect this cable. But you won't be charging it often, as I found that the battery life on the Anywhere 3 is actually very decent, and I've only found the need to charge it twice in the past 4 months. According to Logitech, you can charge it for 1 minute and get 3 hours of use. I've never really tried this though, since I tend to just let the mouse charge all the way, and this takes only a few hours. Logitech also claims that the mouse has a 70-day battery life with a full charge, but I've never let it go to 0% and charge it as soon as the LED indicator at the top of the mouse turns red, signaling that it's running out of battery. The indicator also pulsates green when it's charging, and it stops once it's unplugged. The Logi Options program can also be installed in order for it to notify you whenever the battery is low. This Logi Options program is one of my favorite things about the mouse. The program takes only a few steps to download, and it's incredibly easy to use once you install it. Besides seamlessly blending with your operating system for notifications like battery life, the program opens up the doors to many possibilities and features that make the Anywhere 3 more valuable. One of those features is Flow, which allows the mouse to work simultaneously with multiple devices, even if they're not the same operating system. The wireless mouse is compatible with up to 3 different devices by nature, but what Flow allows you to do is seamlessly transition from one device to the other without manually connecting the mouse to the devices each time you switch. I got to try this feature with the MX Master 3 before coming to Mexico, since that's the mouse that I chose for my main setup in the US, but it works the same way on this Anywhere 3. I set up the program to allow for me to move between my MacBook Pro and my iMac, and it was incredibly smooth. This helped me get rid of the 2 mice that I was previously using for each of those computers, and it allowed me to clean up some space on my desk. In order to do this, you can connect the mouse to both computers via Bluetooth or Bluetooth and the USB unifying receiver that comes included. So if you have multiple devices with multiple mice, this is a great option if you're looking to clean up your workspace. Logi Options also allows you to customize the mouse so it can work best for you. The program lets you pick the purpose behind each button and whether or not you want a specific setting for those buttons depending on the app or program that you're using. I've taken full advantage of this by customizing the buttons for Final Cut, Photoshop, and Chrome, since they are the 3 programs I use the most. And it makes the whole experience while using these programs so much smoother and much more efficient. One of my favorite uses for the buttons is actually on Chrome, where I can simply press on the side buttons that sit on the silicone side of the mouse in order to quickly switch between the next and previous tabs. This is incredibly helpful since I'm always jumping between sites and resources to gather information for the videos. This customization is also available for a variety of other programs that I personally don't use as often, like Office Suite programs, other web browsers, and Zoom. You can also play around with settings like scrolling speed, but I simply haven't bothered since I thought that the presets were okay for me. But even without messing with those settings, I've still been able to experience how unique the steel scrolling wheel is on this Anywhere 3. The wheel feels very solid and high quality when you use it, and it definitely brings a premium feeling to the mouse. It also adds a bit of weight at the front of the mouse, which I was a bit hesitant about at first, but I've gotten used to it now and actually think that it helps the mouse by not making it feel flimsy and unstable. One of the most unique features about the wheel that I personally use a lot is the fact that it also works as a button and you can customize it as such. I constantly find myself switching between programs when I'm on the computer, so I set the wheel to bring up Mission Control when I click on it. This brings up the programs that are currently open on my desktop and allows me to switch between them, making this process a tad more efficient. The wheel also comes with MagSpeed electromagnetic scrolling, which gives the mouse two modes in which it can scroll, all while being very silent. You have the ratchet and free spin modes, which, in simple terms, let you scroll through the computer with a bit of a pause or very quickly. And I've found myself using both modes depending on what it is that I'm doing. When I'm doing research and don't need to go as quickly through a page, I use ratchet mode in order not to miss any information and make sure I can pause where I need to. I've used the free spin mode when I need to get through a lengthier document, but primarily while editing the videos when I need to quickly jump from one end of the timeline to the other. The free spin mode will automatically be activated if you're scrolling too fast when you're on ratchet mode, and it will simply go back to normal once you're done scrolling. But you can also activate each mode and keep it active by pressing the button right below the wheel at the top of the mouse. Well, it doesn't have to be this button specifically since you can customize it, but the button is preset like this when you first get the mouse, and I just kept it since it felt convenient for me. One of the most important features on this mouse that brought a lot of value for me in my workflow is the fact that the wheel can also be used for horizontal scrolling. Now, I wasn't fully aware of this when I first found out I had to come to Mexico and decided to take the Anywhere 3 with me. I used the Master 3 for a few days, and that mouse has a dedicated horizontal scroll wheel, which is amazing, and I quickly got used to it, especially for video editing. But the Master 3 is hard to carry on a backpack, and it simply takes up a lot of space. So that's why I chose to take this one with me instead, even if I was giving up the horizontal scrolling. While setting up the mouse for the first time, however, I came across the fact that you can hold the side buttons and use the wheel in order to scroll horizontally. I immediately went to Final Cut and tried it, and I was relieved to know I didn't fully lose the horizontal scroll. This made me appreciate the mouse a lot more and really made me feel like it was a great purchase. I do have to say that it can feel a bit weird to hold a button and scroll at the same time, and it's definitely more complicated than simply scrolling with your thumb on the Master 3. Also, the side buttons are quite small, and it sometimes feels like you're holding your press, but you're actually just lightly pressing on the buttons, which doesn't trigger the horizontal scroll. But you can't really expect larger buttons on a mouse that is meant to be portable, which this Anywhere 3 definitely is. Once again, the reason why I brought this one with me to Mexico instead of the Master 3 was the fact that I simply threw this one in my carry-on and didn't have to think about it twice. The mouse sits at no more than 4 inches or 10 centimeters in any of its dimensions and no more than 4 ounces or 100 grams of weight. This makes it a very compact piece of tech that you can easily pick up and take with you anywhere you go. It does feel a bit small for my hand, however, as it often seems like my grip doesn't cover the entire surface area of the mouse. And if I push my hand forward or try and adjust the fit, the grip simply doesn't seem right. This isn't uncomfortable, but definitely noticeable, especially the first couple of times using it, since it forces your wrist to rest closer to the desk or whatever you have the mouse on. The Anywhere 3 can be used on virtually any surface, even glass, as long as the glass has a minimum of 4 millimeters of thickness. I did try it on glass and other surfaces for the purpose of research, and they also got the job done. So if you're someone that is constantly on the move and working on different surfaces, and you want a portable mouse that will work on those surfaces, this one is definitely for you. So the MX Anywhere 3 by Logitech provides a decent pack of features and a bit of a premium design for $79.99 US. The mouse is a bit pricey, but it lives up to its name by providing portability and practicality with its compact design. It's a great option if you're looking for a mouse that you can easily throw in a bag, backpack, etc., and you can use in practically any surface and with up to 3 different devices. And that was it for today's video. I really hope you enjoyed it and got something useful out of it. Thank you for watching.